I got asked this about the music collaboration and what's different about when people collaborate in the past to what became acceptable, and did it deteriorate and hurt the music? Um, when people collaborated back in the day, it just sound the nuance of it sounded really cool. You know, they could have been friends, but you could hear like a vocal run or a lick and it sounded cool. You know, was something magical about hearing Lee Ritenours playing the guitar part on Strawberry Letter 23 for the Brothers Johnson. That lick was nice. Or him doing Gimme the Night lick with George Benson intermingling, it was nice. Or Michael McDonald on Peg with Steely Dan. You know, it's nothing new with the collaborations, but the unscripted vibe that it felt like back in the day. Whereas it became the normalized late 90s, early 00s where everybody just would cross collaborate stylings and stuff. Now, do I think that's what hurt the music? Everybody had to have a collab. You could say it did. You could say it did. I think that the genuineness of it got watered down to the point where the artistry got kind of like you kind of lost track because I remember I want to say was it In Vogue? SWV, one of those groups. The record had all the hottest producers and writers on it, and they just became like secondary. And what ended up happening, as I've said before, is that first and second tier acts had to share with fifth, fourth, and fifth tier acts, and it waters you down. It waters you down, and I think that's one of the things that hurt a lot of records. So music collaborations, um, the then as opposed to the now. You see SZA working with Kendrick Lamar, and you know the whole thing is kind of connected. Whereas back in the day, you may have wanted to see something, but it wasn't going to be as commonplace. You know, you weren't going to have Gladys Knight singing with Teddy Pendergrass or with Marvin Gaye. You know, would have been interesting. I mean, Stephanie Mills did with Teddy Pendergrass, but then again, that kind of formatted kind of worked itself together. But you're gonna have things that kind of mix well together. So when Natalie Cole and Earth, Wind and Fire, the TV special Natalie Cole had, it worked. When Maurice White did After Love Is Gone on Solid Gold with Dionne Warwick, it connected. Barry Manilow producing and arranging for Dionne Warwick connected. Wasn't gonna be anything that you were gonna have like who could I um wasn't like you're gonna have Barry White's production on Whitney Houston's music, you know. It just wasn't going to be done like that. Could have been interesting, you know. But if we could have had the make believe of people, the styles and sounds, you know, but we weren't going to have that. You know, we weren't going to have Curtis Mayfield's production on the Barbara Streisand record, you know. It was part segregated, you know. Music collaborations, the then and the now, it's a wide different world. It's done so, and with the technology now with AI, they probably will mix and match. But at the time, there's things they wouldn't have done. So it's an interesting discussion and debate about musical collaborations, the then, the now, and the future, and what they're gonna do. So anyway, please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Share it if you like. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free of my peace.